Hey guys, we are back with another video. Dave from Timber Time Outdoors. If you're a subscriber of the channel, you might think I already did this video. Got the tractor here full of mulch, getting ready to mulch this tree. The difference is this is a brand new tree because the old tree blew over in a storm. So if you want to watch me have a tree spaded in and kind of how that process went for us, you can learn a thing or two about purchasing a tree and basically buying yourself about 10 years worth of growth. So stay with us, guys. All right, so what the heck happened? If you're new to the channel, this is a brand new video and it won't look familiar to you. If you saw the video I did back in July, it was basically me, working with the trusty Kubota. It's a diesel powered wheelbarrow and super handy. So I was kind of demonstrating, the things that the Kubota can do are basically just endless. Well, in this video, we had to replace two trees. There used to be a tree down the hill and there used to be one right where I'm standing. And they blew over in a storm. We've had, I don't know, 3 storms in the last year that have just really taken its toll on our trees. And so my wife and I decided, hey, let's do this right. Let's try to buy ourselves some time. And so what we did is we called a tree wholesaler. And that's basically what this video is about, is I'm going to try to educate you a little bit about the process of purchasing a tree that is about 15 years old. This one's 8 inches in diameter. How do you go about doing that? I'll show some cool video of the machine that brought it in. It was an older truck, but definitely still relevant and did just a fantastic job. It went very quick. So yeah, in this video, we are going to do a few things. We're going to learn about how to purchase one, and essentially you're going to see, the process, the mindset that I went through of which tree to pick, because there's a million different species out there, and you got to prioritize your criteria. And then of course we'll just do some fun time lapse and watch that truck do its thing. It's pretty darn cool, so stay with us. Let's get to it. Okay, so what was here? What kind of tree was here? Well, when we built this house 10 years ago, I planted 2 autumn blaze maple trees. And at the time, they were all the rage. They're supposed to have beautiful fall foliage. And that was the only criteria. We wanted some shade and we wanted beautiful fall foliage. Well, here's what actually happened. We did get the shade, by the way. So right here was an autumn blaze, and then down the hill was an autumn blaze. So I had 2 that were probably too close together. And I will definitely say the one that we planted right here was too close to the house. So made some mistakes, and it's kind of funny how things come around your way sometimes, even when you think it's a catastrophe, storm damage. It actually, in the end, you'll see here, probably worked out for the better. But anyway, that was my criteria at the time for trees. Autumn blaze, I want it to be pretty. Well, what I didn't know is that autumn blaze, they're not that pretty. At least the ones that I had were not that pretty. The color kind of comes and goes and then it's over. They do provide nice shade, but they did have spinners, which they weren't supposed to have. So we didn't like that. And the worst thing is, every storm that came through would knock a branch or 2 down. And then this last one was pretty devastating to the whole neighborhood and just took them both down. They just snapped off right in the middle. They were 10 inches, 12 inches around, and they just literally snapped off. And, that shouldn't happen with a tree that big. So, it's a soft maple, so I'm not telling you what to do as far as maple trees go, but maybe not autumn blaze in the future. And I know they've kind of fallen out of favor. So, all right, we got to pick a new tree. So what did we do? Well, that was number 1 on the criteria, is we seem to be getting hit by some bad winds here now all of a sudden. So I wanted a tree that was going to be strong. And, I talked to the tree wholesaler and I said, number 1 is I want a strong tree. Number 2, I need shade. And that's really it. I just said that I want a bigger tree. He said that his truck could only haul about an 8-inch tree. And I said, okay, let's go as big as you can get in that truck. Show me some trees. And so we drove up to his land and he showed me 2 tree species. One was this tree right here. This is an American linden tree, and it has some unique criteria. It's flexible, let's just say. So it's super strong when it comes to storm damage. It can resist it. It kind of goes with the flow is what he told me. And so, knock wood, hopefully this one's going to survive. And the other thing, well, there's two more things that it does. Obviously, you're going to get a nice shade tree out of it. If you've ever seen a, 100-year-old American linden, they are beautiful. They just hang over and provide lots of shade. But they have another trait that is just wonderful. Some of you probably already know what I'm going to say, is they smell like a lilac tree, kind of. It's just, they're very fragrant. There are some little buds here that flower out too, so you get a spring flower. Just a fantastic tree. So that was the American linden, and the other tree was a elm tree. And some of you are probably saying, oh, don't do an elm, Dutch elm disease. Well, as luck would have it, the area where I live is called the St. Croix Valley. And there is something called the St. Croix elm tree. It's actually a tree in Afton, Minnesota that survived Dutch elm disease. And the University of Minnesota grafted that tree, and they started raising what's called the St. Croix elm. And so that tree, wholesaler had those trees as well. We just felt like, boy, those get really big and quite quickly. So we thought for this space, it was maybe not quite the right tree. So we went with American linden. And so once the decision was made, then what did we do? So then you basically get on the schedule, and there's two parties that work together. There is the tree grower, and then there is the tree spader. And I actually, it probably works differently in your area, whatever, but for me, I basically worked with the tree spader, and he had a bunch of different wholesalers. He sent me to one in Scandia, Minnesota. So it was about an hour drive from here. And we went up there, picked out a tree, got our name on it. They got on the schedule. It showed up about a month later. And I'm just going to kind of roll some video here. The truck came in, and if you've never seen a truck spade, they're basically a great big transformer. And he came in and he dug the hole. We agonized about where to put it. So we actually put it right in between the two that used to be here. And we think that worked out for the better. This space really probably only needs one tree. But when we first built the house, it seemed like two. Well, after you live in a place for a while, you kind of learn some things. And so we went with one tree, kind of right in between, watched the sun. We had a little stake here and kind of figured out where the shade was going to be. And so I think we nailed it as far as location goes. Tree spade came in. I mean, it only took them, gosh, the video is going to show it in about 2 or 3 minutes here, but it probably took him about a half an hour. He was super careful. He put great big mats down on the ground, backed the truck on those so he wouldn't wreck my grass. He did not leave any ruts. So this tree weighs about 10,000 pounds. You'd think he'd leave some ruts, but those mats distributed the weight of the truck and the tree just beautifully. There was a couple areas where he put his downriggers that kind of made a little hole, but it's super easy to fix that. So just a super good guy. I'll put his name up here if you want to call him, if you live in my area. And yeah, so then he took off with a great big plug of dirt. I had a big hole in my yard for about 3 hours. I was a little worried he was going to cut through my sprinkler system, but luck would have it, he didn't cut it. So basically he just went and he got the new tree, he brought it here. And unfortunately, I only got time lapse of him planting the tree, but it was actually less entertaining, I think, the planting of it versus when he came and dug the hole. So you're going to kind of see the highlights of this process. And yeah, he put the tree in and off he went, and here we go. I'm just going to basically mulch it, put some tree wrap on it, and button things up here. So in the end, it's just been awesome to see this transformation of two maples. They fall down, you're devastated. Now all of a sudden I got a great big American linden tree, which I think we're going to like better. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. We're going to run some time lapse and some music, and we'll wrap things up. This process is rather expensive. It's about $800 per guy. So the tree was 800 bucks and the spading process was 800 bucks. So it was a $1,600 tree. Yeah, that's pretty expensive for one tree, but you know, it was just a situation that really, you know, it seemed justifiable in this case. You know, you probably could get 10 trees for that kind of money, smaller of course, but if you only have one tree to go, I think this is the way to go. Wrap this video up. Thanks for watching, guys. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, send it to your friends, and remember, everybody, keep it in the timber. Bye-bye.